You are listening to the Teach Middle East podcast, connecting, developing, and empowering educators.
Hi everyone, this is Lisa Grace coming to you again with a Teach Middle East podcast episode, a little bit different than normal. Today I have Matt Green on my pod, and Matt is the rapping science teacher. I feel cool just talking to him. I feel like I should burst out in a rap, a little something, but you guys don't want to hear that, believe me, and I am not a rapper. Maybe he will do something for us. Welcome, Matt.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
It's so good to have you on the podcast. I have watched your YouTube videos. First of all, before we go into it, how do you get all those graphics on the screen?
Painstaking time. I'd like to say I have an editor, but it's actually all me that does it.
It's just you?
It's just me that does the editing. I say, pretty much for the science raps, it's almost all me.
Unbelievable. Guys, if you're listening to the podcast and you haven't seen one of Matt's videos, you have to go and watch it. It's like rap and drill and all of that meets science, and it makes it so much fun. But what I love continually about it, and my boys watch it, by the way, is
thank you.
Is the graphics. Like how, things come on screen the right time, and brilliant.
The app is CapCut, by the way. And the graphics, it's a particular important point on me because it's the timing musically when things appear, but then it's the timing information-wise, because having 10 years in the classroom, I know kids' attention-wise, and when people understand things need to appear in a certain way at a certain time. So the graphics are very, very important to me. Hence, it's difficult to outsource because someone might be good at animation, but they don't get the sense behind it.
So tell me, Matt, where did this start? Before we even talk about the whole rapping science teacher bit, why did you get into education? How did you get here?
I love science. I've always loved science since I was a kid. And in my early 20s, I tutored a little bit and I really liked it. And then I got a job in a school teaching, and it never felt like a job to me teaching. It always felt like a privilege to be able to do the two things I like doing, which is helping kids and talking about science. And the job was a privilege, even into my last day when I was in the school, which was 3 years ago. I was sad to leave, but it's very difficult to juggle all the things I do in life now. But that's it. It's helping kids understand things and getting that light bulb moment. That's what it is for me.
It's amazing to think that somebody who has come up through, maybe not wanting to be a teacher initially, but then kind of getting into education could be creating such an impact. And the unique way in which you deliver the information, how did that develop?
It came out of every year I always try to come up with ways that make it easier for kids to learn and understand things. So I used to do PowerPoints, the age-old thing that we all do as teachers. Try to use certain images, display in a certain way, explain things in a certain way, or do worksheets, whatever we did to make kids understand things. But one summer, I said, what can I do this term to help students understand? And I had a song playing, and I knew the words to it. I know the words to that song, and I never attempted to. And this thing that I'm trying to get kids to learn right now, I've got to spend so much time getting them to try and understand it, then they're going to have to spend all this time. But these lyrics, we both know when no one taught it to us. The light bulb sort of moment here. I thought, if I can make a song actually good as the song I'm listening to right now, then why can't you just learn the lyrics automatically? And then it comes to not just making the song good musically, but it actually makes sense. So whenever I write a rap, sometimes it can take 8 hours because it doesn't lyrically just have to be good. It has to make sense as if it didn't rhyme. So I don't write it for it to rhyme and have the flow and the tempo and all the musical parts good. If all those bits were stripped by it and I was just talking to you plainly, would it make crystal clear sense? So that's why it's very difficult to construct these sometimes, because both things have to work. Crystal clear explanation, absolutely perfect wordplay, lyrics and rhyme scheme. And if those two match, then they almost always go viral.
It's interesting because you use popular beats. Were you always into music?
Oh, yeah. I've always loved music. I've loved music since the young kids, secondary school years. I was always listening to Tupac, 50 Cent. Those are my favorite rappers. And yeah, they probably influenced the way I write now. But I love a lot of the UK guys too, to be fair. So,
because it's interesting, because when you can relate to the beat, then it's easier for you to get the lyrics. What impact has your work had so far that you've heard about? Because sometimes the impact is so far reaching you don't know, but what impact are you aware of that your work has had?
It's helped thousands of students that I'm aware of personally, just from the messages I've got, if not millions. But I couldn't tell you the tens of thousands of messages I've got from kids saying, I wasn't a grade 2, science was just not happening, and I'd written it off as a failure, and I've managed to scrape through a pass of a 4 or a 5. I get those a lot. I've had students that already were passing, but their parents and themselves wanted to get maybe higher grades, but they just didn't feel it was in the tank. They heard the raps, and then they start to find a love and joy for science, and they've passed with 7.7, 7.8. I've even had students come and say, look, I got 2 9s or 3 9s because of going through your raps. And and that's what it is really. I want kids to love the subject and understand it easily. I don't want it to be a chore. I want them to just turn on the music. It makes sense. They go to the exams. They remember what it was. But if they forget some of the nuances, the lyrics are just playing in their mind, and they can go, yeah, that's it. And they can write the answers down. It's
interesting because my nephew, who he's just finishing up with uni and stuff, I was telling him I'm going to interview you on the pods, and it's like, yeah, I know Matt Green, he lets the man them like science, and I was like, the man them? What are we talking about? But how do you feel about it giving access to kids who would probably not be turned on by the scientific terms that you explain in their language?
That's what it's all about. That's why I do this. Science is not a renownedly loved subject in school, and I just happen to love it. There are some kids out there that happen to love it. There are some kids that don't. And that was me for history. I hated history. I'm still not fond of it now. But I speak to the version of myself that would have been the equivalent in science. So whenever I'm making this, I'm like, if there was a rapping history teacher, what would they have had to do for me to actually engage with the subject? It would have had to be quick, explained well, basically what I do for science. And that's the logic I use, and I don't sort of convince myself it's a widely loved subject. I know students struggle with it and they don't like it. They find it boring. And I'm just trying to change that. I know why kids feel like that. They get to year 7 and the subject gets dull for some reason. And I'm just trying to put a bit more fire and flame to it.
Yeah, let's go wider with the thing, Matt, because a lot of students find school deathly boring. They really do. Like, they can't wait to be out of there. What's causing that? Do you have any ideas around that? Like, what's causing kids to be just so bored they want to opt out?
Oh, it's a very deep question. I could just spout immediately. I'm going to give a considered response. I think, being deeply psychological, I think whenever you have to be somewhere, that's always going to be difficult, right? When I had to do jobs that I didn't want to do, I didn't want to be there. When it came to teaching never really felt like a job to me. So I was happy to go there. When it comes to working for myself now, I can wake up at ungodly hours in the morning because I'm happy to be here. So kids don't want to go to school. And you can ask the question, but then why? Why are they finding it? If it was amazing, if they were there playing football every day or just playing computer games, they probably would leave out of bed. I suppose it's the way that it's taught. We've got like a Victorian style system that hasn't changed very much. You sit, you've got a teacher explaining, you have to listen. If you're not understanding it, tough. And you just have to sort of, not passively, but it's difficult sitting listening, even as, I'm 36 years old now. And if I've got to sit somewhere and listen to someone speak, unless they're the funniest person ever, I tend to fall asleep. And I think most people are like that. And I think kids are definitely like that. So if most of your lessons are like that, it's going to be difficult. And yeah, if your day-to-day experience is you're in front of a teacher for an hour listening, then the next teacher listening, and you're struggling, you're not getting stuff, then it's going to be very hard. If that turning point is there, if you just want one lesson, like, oh, I get what's going on here and I like it, then you'll like that lesson. If every lesson's like that, then you'll want to go to school. But sadly, it's not for the fault of the teachers. Teachers work very, very, very hard. It's just difficult. Limited resources and limited amounts of time spending on things makes it impossible to sort of fix that overnight. I think hopefully with the potential of AI and maybe robots, not Elon Musk's robots yet, But I think, in the next 10 to 15 years, I think school education can change massively if teachers have more time to devote to planning and time with students rather than marking and doing admin. And then students can sort of they'll feel that difference, but we're a little while off.
Yeah. What do you think that would look like, though? Like, what do you envision that setup to look like?
If I was envisioning a classroom in the future where I was in it, it would be me, 30 students, let's say, and I come to front of the classroom, I say, today we're doing photosynthesis, and I can explain it in 30 seconds maybe. Then they're off to do their thing. They can off to water plants, grow plants, plant seeds, do things in this, and they've got either a robot or some sort of system. So I don't have to go to each individual one. If I'm that bored student, really not know what's going on, the AI machine go, hey, little Matt, I can see you're not quite getting this. Where's the trouble? And they go, well, I don't get what photosynthesis is, and I don't know what we're doing. And the computer can go, right, this is what it is. Do you understand that? And if it was first good explanation first time, I go, oh, I do get it. Right. And your instructions, I just take these seeds, do this. And if there are 13 students that feel that way and the AI can help them, then the class can move much more fluently. Then I have time to go to each one and say, hey, little Matt, I saw a second ago on this computer system you were achieving 53%, but you're now on 70%. Well done on the improvement there. I'm watching you. Rather than me not being able to have that interaction because I'm busy marking or something. And I think if AI and computing can take that onus out, then you can have more interactions that are motivational. And I think learning will just go off the charts if we have that. And I don't think it's an if. I think it will happen. It's just how soon.
Yeah, that would be amazing because I think it would help the teachers to focus on the human side of things, that connection and things students need, the support, etc.
And I think that's the thing AI can't replace. I was joking with friends about this recently. I was like, if, I can't speak any languages, but if an AI bot was going to teach me French and I went from 10% to 50%, and the bot went, Matt, you really impressed me. You've done well. That can't really motivate me because I know it's not a person. Whereas if there was a physical teacher that could come and go, hey, I've seen your percentages. You're doing really well. That me. Hey, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And that would motivate me. That would motivate me. And you need that person, that real person to push you and they make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just a limit to what AI, and I don't know, maybe one day they'll figure out something. I don't know. It's just, humans need humans, just like birds need birds to flock together. It's just how life is. Question though, you have transitioned out of the classroom. What are you now doing?
I now run my company, JDM Science Users. So it's nearly 7 years old. Started as just me, the solo tutor, and is now growing to 100 of us. So there are 100 tutors. We have an office manager, Andrew, and my wife, who also works for the company. And we work hard together, making sure that we can deliver high quality tutors to students that need science. We also provide for maths, English, and other subjects, mainly for GCSE and A-level and Key Stage 3.
Why did you make that shift?
Because I was tutoring one-to-one heavily at the time when I was teaching almost together. And a lot of parents were saying they were struggling to find high-quality, reliable science teachers. And I found a gap in the market, a gap that I thought I could plug quite well and quite happily. And I did. I mean, it took about a year of backbreaking work to get it in motion. But once it was in motion, it started rolling. I enjoyed it. So I just started growing it to the point that I was able to go from 5 days a week at work to 3 days, 2 days, and then I started to complicate my life by rapping. So just at the point I could leave full time, I then had another thing to juggle, which is the rapping and running the company, which is now what I do full time.
Yeah. So you're on your way to Dubai for the guest show in November, and you are going to be speaking at the guest show. What are you going to be talking about?
I'm going to be doing two main shows. The first show is about engaging. So it's about how leaders in the schools can raise their game and engage students using a mixture of the strategies I use, which is music in the classroom, and how to use certain new AI technologies that can help engage learners, as well as how to get social media on side and use social media to help as well, because this is a difficult one. It's usually taboo and ignored, but there are certain things that make social media quite powerful to help engage students. That's what one of the presentations is going to be about. The second one will be more of a sort of show called Rhythm and Rhyme, where I showcase a little bit of rapping in science.
Brilliant. I'm almost tempted before we close the podcast to ask you to rap something for us. Just a little something that people can expect. But I don't know if I should put you on the spot like that. What I will ask you to do, though, is to look straight at camera and just invite people to come along and see what you have in store at GUESS 2024.
Okay. All right. Come and see one or both of my shows at GUESS 2024, where I'll be showing you ways to engage students using the power of social media, music, and AI. Can I drop a rap?
Drop a rap, mate.
Okay. I might have to get some lyrics up, you know.
Go on then. I will definitely be clipping this for sure.
Okay. A shout out to my sponsor, GUESS in Dubai, the education conference that I will pass by to talk and do experiments and even be on panels to find out more about the source they looked into our channels.
Boom. So you are set to be here in November. Do you have any plans for expanding internationally, Matt?
Oh yeah, 100%. We've got a few clients in Dubai now. We would love to really work with a few schools in Dubai. So we work with a number of schools in the UK, and we work with a very, very large building company called Skanska in the UK, where we train their trainee engineers. So that's one of our big areas of expansion now. So we'll always maintain helping families. When families need us and they've got their children and they want tutors, we do that. But where institutions like schools and companies need a fleet of tutors to train their trainees, or if a school's got classes that they need, we're doing that as well. Everything we do is online, and we've got all the infrastructure in place. So we're just basically making a big push for that now.
Brilliant. Thank you for being on the podcast, Matt.
No, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having
me. Thank you for listening to the Teach Middle East podcast. Visit our website, teachmiddleeast.com, and follow us on social media. The links are in the show notes.